Hello, I'm Tom. Welcome to the Crawler-Lib workflow control sample. In this sample, I'll show the crawler workflow in general, workflow sequences, and the delay, group, and retry workflow element. So let's start. The term crawler workflow refers to the defined creation and execution of workflow elements. An HTTP request is such a workflow element. Every task workflow starts in the start work method. If no workflow element is created in this method, the task completes without performing any work at all. If multiple workflow elements are created in the start work method, they are all executed in parallel after the start work method completes. First of all, let's take a look at a sequence task. Sequence task performs 3 requests. Not in parallel, but one by one. This is simply achieved by creating the subsequent request in the successful handler. In general, starting workflow elements in the handlers of other workflow elements produce a sequence. When we run the sample, we see that the requests are executed immediately, one by one. Sometimes we want to execute a request or a complete workflow after a certain delay. This is done with a delay element. Start work method or the delay task executes 2 requests one by one with a 2 seconds delay between them. The delay element performs delays without blocking the workflow engine threads. Don't use thread sleep or any other thread blocking method to achieve this, because when all workflow processor threads are blocked, no other workflow element can be started or processed until the delay is over. When we run the sample, we see that the requests are executed one by one with a 2 seconds delay between them. The next important workflow element is group. It allows starting a group of requests or workflow elements in parallel. After all of them are complete, a subsequent workflow is started by the group. The start work method or the group task starts a group with 3 requests. This one is delayed. After the group is successful, a subsequent request will be started. As we see, the group starts the subsequent request after all requests of the group are completed. At last, I want to show the retry workflow element. It simplifies the handling of unreliable connections. If a request fails, the retry element retries a request. The start work method of the retry task starts a retry element for a request to an unreliable connection. This URL produces a 503 error response, which means service unavailable. Then 2 responses that are OK, and so on. This behavior simulates an overloaded web server. When the request is successful, a subsequent request will be started. The output shows that the first request fails with status code service unavailable. The request is retried and succeeds. Then the subsequent request is performed. These workflow control elements can be combined to code complex crawling workflows in a very simple way. The code is easy to read and highly self-documenting. Thank you for watching. You can download the sample and the Crawler-Lib-Engine on our homepage.